Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We are your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Kind of a 2 week hiatus for us. I was a bit under the weather a couple weeks ago, dealing with
Yeah.
some sickness, and then last week, everybody's celebrating Thanksgiving, so we were with our family last week. So we're back this week, and a great week to return. Week 12 was a great week of football. Luke, how's your day been so far? And I know it was kind of hectic weekend, and you had to drive back to Manhattan on Saturday afternoon before
Yeah.
the snow hit, and you had to cover the football game.
No, yeah, it's doing good. Been a little busy ever since I've got back Saturday. Driving was a little scary for sure. Snow Topeka to Manhattan was not too kind. I had the van beep at me, telling me that I lost traction a couple times.
Good old van.
That's kind of scary, man. That's never happened. That's kind of scary, but got through, and now we're here. It was a great week of football. I think one of the best weeks this year, and I think a lot of cool, interesting things happened. I thought it was a good week of football.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we will talk about Week 12, and then we will also talk about the wild card race in both conferences, the AFC and the NFC, before closing our show out with Week 13 predictions. So with that in mind, let's talk about our Week 12 reactions. And the first game we'll talk about occurred on Thanksgiving. Seems like a while ago, but only
Hmm
6 days ago. The Packers came out on top in lines and really had control of this game from the get-go. Turnovers killed the Lions in this game, and Packers took full advantage of those turnovers.
No, yeah, Jordan Love was great. That was something. The offense seems like it's really going. The Lions are kind of teetering, so I mean, if you think about it in hindsight, it's not the most surprising win, but that was a big game for Jordan Love, probably his best of his career. I think it's really putting him at point, and it's put the Packers at this like we were talking about them being Drake May, possibly even Caleb sweepstakes. Now they've completely turned it around.
I don't know if Caleb sweepstakes were ever in the cards. I mean, they would have to play
There's a
really bad.
chance.
They would probably have to lose out and hope that some of these mediocre teams win games like the Patriots and Giants. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. The Jordan Love story was this guy's no good.
hmm
Even the general manager said they don't really know next 10 weeks at that
Yeah.
time was going to be important. But I thought he was very impressive in this game. There were some throws he made where it was like you could see the talent there. You kind of see the Aaron Rodgers kind of teaching, and because when he throws the ball, you could tell that he's been learning from Aaron Rodgers. He
Yeah.
has a flick of the wrist, the motion with lower body and all that, and
hmm
sidearm as well. I was very impressed with Packers, but for the Lions, I'm starting to worry a little bit about the Lions. Not, I think this next week they'll win, and we'll get into that later. But playoff wise, I really don't know if Jared Goff can take this team over the top. And that's always been my question with the Lions and with Jared Goff is if he is a quarterback that can take a team to a Super Bowl. And I know he's been to a Super Bowl before with the Rams, but I don't know if he's gonna be that X factor that can lift this team into the Super Bowl this year.
My concern isn't really with Goff. He had two bad weeks, like bad weeks. He threw 3 picks against the Bears. I mean, that was just, and then he was not great against the Packers. But I just think those are bad weeks, and he's a vet, and he'll get over it.
Didn't he have 3 more turnovers this past week against
No,
Packers?
yeah, he was bad. He was bad against Packers too. Bad each game, but I think he'll get over it. He's a vet. He's been really good this year. He'll get over it. I think the main concern is the defense. Honestly, I
Secondary is
mean,
awful. Secondary is
yeah,
awful.
secondary is just not great. Didn't they lose Gardner Johnson earlier in the year, and that hurt. They just can't really stop teams too much. They don't. If Aiden Hutchinson isn't just dominating, it's just they don't have much there. They have like enough to where at moments they shine a little bit, but they're definitely not the top tier. I think that unless the defense turns it around, they've fallen off from that first tier of NFC teams, and because Goff isn't as good as Jalen Hurts, and then Brock Purdy doesn't even do as much as Goff does. And then even the Cowboy, like Dak, I know they haven't won a big game yet, but Dak is looking sensational. But yeah, it's a little concerned. But again, if before the year you said Lions are still comfortably going to win the division, probably they're going to take that. It's a good year.
Yeah.
It's building blocks. It's building blocks to see what they could become. They probably still need a receiver, need secondary a little bit more. I'm still optimistic about the Lions as a whole, but as much as like contenders, they're a little dicey there.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely win a playoff game, maybe two. It kind of depends. If they could play San Francisco on the road, I think they don't really match up well with the 49ers, but I think here's the main thing that's concerning me about Goff. One, when you get pressure on him, he just becomes a totally different quarterback. He's certainly not athletic at all, can't really evade pressure. And I think that's one of the concerns I have. And another one is in cold weather, he doesn't have the strongest arm in cold weather, and that's another concern. So if they were to have to play in Philadelphia in that cold weather climate, in that atmosphere, I think they would struggle. But if they could play at San Francisco, I do give them a fighting shot, because San Francisco's typically warmer even this time of year. So I think if they go to San Francisco, they have a better shot winning than in Philadelphia.
So are you saying like their most realistic, let's say their path to Super Bowl would be, well, Eagles are the 1 seed, Niners the 2, they're the 3, NFC South's the 4, Cowboys are the 5, Cowboys whoop the 4, Lions beat Seattle, and then Cowboys go beat Eagles, Lions beat Niners, then they play in Dallas under a roof. That you're probably, I think your criticism of Goff is
I think regardless they're going to have to go into Philly. I think regardless they're going to have to go into Philly.
Not if Philly loses.
I don't see
Cowboys.
But I think it's possible as well. But I think Cowboys haven't been a good team all year. So until they do it, I'm not.
They should have beat Philly. Philly's game. We'll talk about Philly, but man.
Yeah, but I think if they have to play in that cold weather climate, I think Goff's a solid. He's kind of like when the Chiefs had Alex Smith for that stretch of time, 4 or 5, and he took them to the playoffs, but he always came up short in the playoffs, and that's kind of where Goff, I think, is a better quarterback than Alex Smith, but I think he's kind of that same tier of. You're going to probably need another quarterback to elevate you to that next level you want to be.
I think if you get him a receiver and the defense gets better, next year they could be a legit contender. Probably not this year. He's probably not good enough for this year. I'm not saying – I completely forgot about Hendon Hooker. Did you see he's on the 21-day practice?
Yep.
That'd be interesting. I wonder what their plans are with him. That's just an interesting little nugget to pay attention to.
Another team – we'll move on. Another team that I have a lot of questions about, and they came out with a good result this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Defeated the Houston Texans 24-21 in a game where I thought the Jaguars got a lot of friendly calls, I think, in this game. They got a lot of ticky-tack, pass interference, illegal contact, holding calls against the Jaguars.
They're the best in the league at causing pass interferences.
Some of those penalties I did not agree with at all. I thought they really ticky-tack. But this is going to be interesting matchup for years to come. You have Trevor Lawrence, and I think CJ Stroud can. There's argument to be made that he can eventually be the best quarterback in this division.
I think we need Trevor was not playing great, and I agree. But man, I thought he was really good. I thought he was good.
The stat line doesn't tell the whole story because when you look at a stat line, he only has 1 passing touchdown, 1 pick, and then that rushing touchdown kind of looks like he didn't play that well. But I did think he did play well. But man, CJ Stroud, I mean, people want to say, oh, he has great weapons, but I think he's elevated these weapons to look great. Like Nico Collins was never considered a great weapon before C.J. Stroud was there.
He also Davis Mills. Okay, Tank Dell's legit.
I think Tank Dell's legit too.
He has good weapons. He also doesn't have Noah Brown, which, I mean, I don't even know what to think about Noah Brown. I was like, oh, Noah Brown's really good? Like, what? No, Stroud's good, but at the same time, I think, he's not going to beat everyone like people are saying, so – I wasn't surprised by the win. I do think Trevor looked good, but at the same time, the Jags, they still didn't show this great, profound win. I don't know when Titus Howard got hurt, but I think that had to help because Josh Allen.
First half. I think it was late first half. I'm not mistaken.
Because Josh Allen really started getting pressure. And, that's kind of a big deal for the Texans in their wild card spot because, I mean, what their team is really C.J. Stroud, drop back, have some time, go find a receiver. Receiver makes a good play, great throw. But if you lose one offensive lineman, you lose another, then it's just I could just see it sort of crumble a little. So their wild card thing, which we may talk about later, will be interesting. But back to the Jags, it's just they're like the Lions, where it's like they're good, but
there's just something missing there. And I don't really know if I can put my finger on, but there's just something. I think offensive line, and they lost. Why can't I think of his name? Cam Robinson. He's on the IR now.
Oh yeah,
he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. And outside of him, they really don't have that good of offensive line. They have Walker Little, who's been solid. But Jacksonville, I think defensively, they've been really good, especially at pass rush with Josh Allen. They've been really good. But there's just something missing with this team. And when I look at the AFC, I think it's really a collision course with the Chiefs and the Ravens. I think that's kind of where we're headed.
No, yeah, but it's weird. It's weird. If the Chiefs ever get the offense going, I think it's clear. I mean, it was good seeing the offense against the Raiders get it going, but consistently getting going, I don't think there's anyone on the Chiefs level as long as that occurs. Once Joe Burrow got hurt, really,
that was the one team that really scared me as a Chiefs fan was the Bengals. Yeah. That's the one team that really terrifies me every year because they always figure it out, and then they're always the hottest team heading into the playoffs. On the Texans side of things, I really thought that they blew an opportunity at the end of this game. They had 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 on, I believe it was the second to last drive of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And they threw the 4th and 1 play. C.A. Stroud threw like a 30-yard pass where there was no receiver.
To Schultz.
Yeah. And 3rd and 1, they threw the ball. It's like just run the ball one of those times, pick up the first, and then get another, just keep the drive going, keep surviving. But I thought that was a blown opportunity by the Texans. And then, just hitting the crossbar on the field goal is always something that, it just hurts. So I think the Texans do have a bright future, and I do like where they're going. I think they could, and we'll talk about this later, but I do think that they will be in the last wildcard spot when that time comes.
No, they're a very interesting team, and for the future, they look great. They look great for the future, but they've done enough this year. They're at least a solid team this year at like their floor, and that's probably more than you could have asked for to start the year in the draft. For everyone was saying, "Oh, the Cardinals are going to get the Texans pick." Man, that's nuts. What if it's Marvin Harrison? It's like that thing's not even close to Marvin.
Mm-hmm. Well, they still have their own pick to get Marvin Harrison, so they can still end up with Marvin Harrison.
No, yeah, I know, but the whole thing was like, what if Cardinals had the 1st and 2nd pick?
Oh yeah, you get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison. That'd be
I know,
pretty ideal. Next game, another team that's in the wild card hunt, and a team that really, really didn't. After week 6 at 1-5, we basically penciled them in as a top 5 team in the draft, a team in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. But they're now 6-5. The Denver Broncos handled business against the Browns. Browns really didn't have a chance in this game. They really never got anything going, and that's what happens when you have DTR starting and PJ Walker having to play later in the game. Broncos. I still don't fully believe in the Broncos because I think their formula is basically Russell Wilson just manages the game and the defense keeps them within the game. I still don't think Russell Wilson's playing fantastic, and everybody's saying, "Oh, he's thrown 20 touchdowns."
He's getting the job done. He's getting the job done,
but we need to remember this guy's getting paid $50 million a year.
Okay, but that's not.
And we need to remember that just because he played so bad last year that this year he's looking good. But okay. I still don't think he's playing that great.
You can't let that be the discussion though for how good they are though. I mean that's a separate discussion. Everyone knows he's not playing up to his contract, and I don't think there's a single person in the world to say he's playing up to his contract. But right now he's just getting the job done for what he's asked, and I'm liking what the Broncos are doing. They're showing just a steady. The defense is picking it up. Okay. Who would you think who's the better team? Or I don't know who's head-to-head would win or who's the better team? Right now, regardless of record, Broncos, Steelers. It's like if I were a team, I'd rather play the Steelers. I'd rather
play Steelers too because I think I'd rather play the Steelers because I think Sean Payton elevates the Broncos more than Mike Tomlin. Because offensively, this league's about offense. Steelers have no offense.
I want to say that. I mean, Mike Tomlin's may win Coach of the Year.
That's not what I meant. What I meant was offensively, because I think Denver's defense is playing well, but offensively, I would take Sean Payton's coaching in the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers, their coaching staff, their foundation's more defense. And I just think Kenny Pickett is awful as well. So I'd rather face the Steelers, but I think the Broncos are still kind of fraudulent.
But I know they're not. I don't know if fraudulent's not the right word, man. They're coming back. They're not a team
I know they beat the Chiefs and the Bills. Their defense, I think, has been great. But I think
the offense does enough.
This check down offense is.
It does enough. I still think the offense has more potential. If they beat the Texans.
Well, if they beat the Texans, then okay, I may be absolutely wrong.
If it gets into a single playoff game, like. Sean Payton may just have to say, Russ, for us to win this game, you got to cook a little bit. You got to do a little more cooking.
Okay, let's say, and this is kind of optimistic by me because we're Chiefs fans. Let's say the Chiefs get the 1 seed, Denver gets a 7 seed, and Baltimore's a 2 seed. Do you give Denver any chance in that game against Baltimore in first round?
Yes, I don't think they'd win, but I give them a chance. Yeah, Baltimore is not. I give them a chance.
I don't think Baltimore's that great. Like they're great, but I think offensively, I still have major question marks about their team.
If let's say Broncos were a 7, Ravens a 2, and Broncos beat the Ravens, it's the Chiefs have to play Broncos, a team who, no matter how bad Wilson's been, his 4 games against the Chiefs, he's competed like every time. I'd be looking at that game as a Chiefs fan, like, this isn't good. Like I could see it being a blow up. At the same time, if that thing's close, I'm edge of my seat.
I get what you're saying, but if you told me that was a scenario, I would take that 1,000 times out of 1,000. Like if you tell me Baltimore loses the first round and Chiefs top competitor is at Jacksonville, I would absolutely take that as a Chiefs fan.
Well, I don't think that's the top. I don't know.
Well, okay, Miami's probably there's Miami and other teams, but yeah,
I don't. If the Broncos go and beat the Ravens and have to play Chiefs in playoffs, I think it's a little frightening because they've played the Chiefs very well. But okay, so I want to talk about this on the Browns side. So obviously, you lose Deshaun, you lose Nick Chubb. It's just not going to be as good. But did you see that if DTR can't play, Joe Flacco starts? I think that's very interesting. Not that Joe Flacco's great, but he can just come in, dink and dunk, and then just hit one Amari Cooper bomb. I mean,
I think they're doomed regardless. I don't think Joe Flacco is going to be elevating this team.
It's not about elevating the team. It's about
keep them afloat.
I think he can keep them afloat. I think Joe Flacco keep them afloat. I think that they don't really have many questions. They're not great at weapons wise, but they're fine. And then the defense is really good.
They did dodge a bullet with Myles Garrett not being out an extended.
Well, yeah,
apparently he's only day to day. Apparently he's only.
If Myles Garrett was out multiple weeks, it's like okay, because I think he's easily the most important
season in his lost season. But
yeah,
I think Browns. It's interesting because we'll talk about the wild card race here in a few minutes.
The wild card, I find it.
I really don't know if they make the playoffs anymore. Like I thought when they were 7-3, it's like I think they make the playoffs, but they'll be one of those teams like the Steelers a few years ago, where it's just basically lean on defense and run game. I don't know if they make the playoffs anymore, and it's kind of disappointing if you're a Browns fan.
I think it's a better chance
this season
if Joe Flacco plays. If Joe Flacco plays, I give him a better shot.
I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. I don't really have a lot of optimism around the Browns, and I mean, if you're a Texans fan, you just got to hope the Browns don't make the playoffs and you get that higher pick. And it won't be like a dramatically higher pick, but just getting a higher pick in the draft will also.
I mean, if they make the playoffs, they won't do much. But
no, I think they'll be one and done.
Yeah,
if they're in the playoffs. But yeah, interesting game. Broncos win 5th straight. They play at Houston this week. I think that game will tell a lot about both teams and where they're going this season. But yeah, I think AFC wildcard race is very interesting.
Oh, I love it. I think it's fun.
We'll now move on. Probably the game of the week, best game possibly of the year so far. Eagles beat the Bills in overtime, 37-34. And in the first half of this game, it was 17-7 Bills. It was like this game is ugly, and I don't know if it's going to reach the over-under, which I think was like 48.5 or so.
Yeah, it killed that. But can I start? Because my thing is Sean McDermott. I haven't been big on the fire Sean McDermott thing. That was near fireable offense. The Bills, Josh Allen played so well. The offense, for the first time, looks like a real offense. If you were just to watch the offense, you'd be like, oh, the Bills. I still have faith in the Bills. But the problem is Sean McDermott's idea. Go back to that Chiefs-Bills playoff game. 13 seconds. You know what they do? They play passive defense. 2 passes.
Well, they also – what they could have done – and sorry to interrupt you. They could have easily squibbed the ball and made the Chiefs burn 3-4 seconds just to return the ball.
It's just Sean McDermott, I think, put the ceiling on your team. But then, so that happens against the Chiefs. And then this is a huge game. You beat the Eagles. You have momentum. And you have the bye. And then you have Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are not unbeatable by any stretch. And then you know what you do? You play passive defense. You let them go get it. They kick the field goal. And then you have 20 seconds, 2 timeouts. You have Josh Allen. And you just kneel it. And then
No. They didn't have 2 timeouts. They used
they
one.
had one time. Oh yeah, they did
used
that
the timeout
terribly.
They used that timeout to freeze Elliott. And the thing is,
Why
when you
freeze
freeze a kicker,
Elliott? Especially a great one. A great
when you
one.
freeze a kicker, one in that scenario, I'm just letting the kicker kick. It's a 59-yard field goal in the rain and sleet. It's pouring. 2, when you freeze a kicker, you want to freeze it right before they kick the ball. He called it, and they were. I think the Eagles were actually having to rush to the line. There's like 7 seconds left on the snap clock.
And
they
also,
I don't think they make the kick because they're rushing to the line. I don't think they would have made the kick.
Okay. Also, he's like the best kicker in football now because Justin Tucker is like, and Jake Elliott's been good for a while.
I still think Tucker is.
He's not at the moment. Elliott's played like the best kicker. At least he's at least played like the best kicker, but he's great. Just don't. And if you need the timeout, you don't use it on a freeze. On a very tough
it was
field goal where, as you said, the weather. Like he had probably more time to adjust to that was bad. And then obviously the incomplete pass to Gabe Davis is the miscommunication. Allen thought he should have gone this way. Gabe Davis.
The thing is, when you look at the replay from the all-22 angle, the safety has leverage on the inside. So I think Gabe Davis actually ran that route. The safety has inside leverage. If you just run to the offensive pylon,
he wasn't like he had inside leverage, but I don't think he was.
But even that throw when Allen threw it was still under.
He would have caught that. What are you talking? Are you?
Or not under? There was a different throw, but I think the safety had the leverage on the inside.
But the safety didn't have the. He wasn't in full position. Gabe's running past him. I think they're more even. He's running past. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know all that. That's not for us to decide who made the wrong decision. I don't think we're qualified for that. But still, it's 4th and 7, and you've picked up all these third downs, and like you pick up if they're on the same page, you pick up that touchdown either way. If he throws it left and Gabe runs that, or if Gabe runs straight and he throws it straight, probably scoring. Just you're facing the Eagles. Go for it. 4th and 7.
And Eagles secondary is not fantastic. You could have easily. I think.
My takeaway from
when
the game
Eagles got the ball back down by 3, I'm like, this game's over.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts just secured MVP right there, unless they go on a losing streak. But I was very just like, that was dumb. Sean McDermott. If they don't make the, because now
they're not making. They are not making the play. Have you seen the schedule?
Okay, they can go. No one's great. Anyone's beatable in this league.
Okay, how many wins? How many wins at the end of the year?
They can honestly win every game. I don't know.
How many wins do you think that at the end of the year they need?
I don't know, Logan.
10?
I don't know. 10. You can get 10.
You think they win? You think they win 4 of these games?
They can.
Chiefs, at Kansas City.
They can
Dallas.
beat the Chiefs. They can beat Dallas.
I know you can beat at Chargers, New England, at Miami. I think they lose. I think they beat New England. I think they beat the Chargers, but I think they lose these other 3 games. I really do.
But that's just anything can happen. The offense looks really.
And maybe
good
they lose
to
against the Chargers. I think they could.
No,
and I think the Chargers are terrible. I think they could lose the Chargers.
Okay, but they beat one of Dallas or Chiefs, and I like their odds because they're beating the Chargers are a mess. They're beating the Chargers.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's gonna drop 50. Dude, the offense looks like a real offense since firing. What's his name? It looks like a real offense. And I think that even though you lost, that's what I think the takeaway is. The Bills, they're not dead. They're in a tough spot, but they beat the Chiefs, which I think they're fully capable of. The Chiefs offense is
the way they lost that game, though, I think it's just soul crushing for this team.
Well, the soul crushing part, that's a little dangerous, yes. But I mean, this team still has a lot of talent.
I thought Sean McDermott was done 2 weeks ago. When they lost to Denver.
But that was with what's his name as offensive coordinator.
No, I realize that, but there's been so many. The fact that he's 0-6 with Josh Allen as quarterback in overtime, that can't be the case. You cannot have Josh Allen as quarterback and be 0-6 in overtime.
There's a lot of good offensive head coaching talent this offseason. Ben Johnson, Bobby Slow, Texans offensive coordinator. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I think he'd be moved, but I'm not. The Eagles still have a shot, or the Bills. And then I think with the Eagles, I mean, they've been lucky, man. We've talked a lot about the Bills, but they've been lucky.
I don't think the Eagles have a win. And let me look this up real quick. I don't think they have a win above like 14 points this year. and I may be wrong on that. They
you
beat
are
Tampa Bay
correct.
by 14.
Yeah, you are correct. And they beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins was their best win. They dominated the Dolphins.
But their last 4 games have all been decided by a possession or less.
No, yeah, I think they've gotten lucky. I still think they're the best team.
If you look at their last 3 games, I think you can say that they were thoroughly outplayed for the majority of those games, but they end up winning. Like the Chiefs game, I think Chiefs outplayed them for most of that game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Buffalo, I think outplayed them. Dallas, I think outplayed them. This secondary for the Eagles is not good. I think they rank like 30th to 31st in almost every passing category. Like opponents passing yards per game, touchdowns thrown. They're not a good they do not have a good secondary. And Fletcher Cox got hurt. If they suffer some injuries on this defensive line, which does have great depth, I think they're in trouble. But I think this week against the San Francisco 49ers is going to be very telling of if this team is – I think they're legit Super Bowl contenders, of course, but if they can actually dominate and run through the NFC convincingly.
No, it's very interesting. I think that their offensive style, they can do it in multiple ways. So I think their offense is still the best, but their defense is clearly not what we all thought because of the secondary. I still trust them. Like Jalen Hurts is my MVP, and right now I don't think it's close. I think he's playing like the best player. He's making the big time plays, even though they're getting lucky. But it's interesting. They're Dallas, San Fran, and then Dallas. You got to win one. And then you can go beat Seattle, go beat the Giants, go beat Arizona, go beat the Giants again. But you just got to come away with one of those, and then you should be fine. But it's a little interesting.
Go ahead. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I was just going to say they're an interesting team right now, and they could. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose these next 2 or if they win the out. So
I don't think they go 16-1. But last game of the week that we'll talk about, we've kind of talked about this game a little bit already and kind of where both these teams are at. The Ravens defeat the Chargers 20-10. There's a point in this game where it's 13-3 Ravens. And part of me felt like, are the Chargers going to actually pull this game out and win? And then they score a touchdown to go down by 3. Justin Tucker misses the field goal to go up by 6, which I think that was the wrong decision, by the way, by John Harbaugh and the Ravens on 4th and 1 to kick the field goal instead of electing to go for it. I would have gone for it in that situation. I mean, you have Lamar Jackson. You have this running game. Why not just try to get the first down for a yard? And usually the Ravens are very aggressive in those types of situations. But I think for the Ravens, the biggest question mark, I think it's the biggest question mark that I've had for them for quite a few years now, is the passing game. These receivers, Zay Flowers, I think is your best weapon. And I don't think it's similar to the Chiefs, where the Chiefs' best weapon outside of Kelsey is a rookie, but they have Kelsey. Mark Andrews is out. You have Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's he's not consistent enough, is always hurt. OBJ, we can definitely agree he's past his prime, washed, overpaid. Yeah. And we don't know if it's not guaranteed he stays healthy.
He's fine. He's a fine receiver.
No, he's fine. But it's like, would it shock you if he got hurt in the next 6 weeks and then he's out for the playoffs and you're down to Zay Flowers and Bateman? I don't know. The Ravens have done this before, but they've been prolific. I think each of the last 3 years they've started like 9-3, 8-4, somewhere in that area, and then they falter the rest of the year. I think the Ravens are still a team that I don't really trust in the playoffs. I think they're good, and their defense is outstanding, but in the playoffs, I still am hesitant to put my trust in them. It's
weird because I fully trust Lamar now. I think I've seen enough. Lamar's good. Lamar's improved a ton as a passer, but yeah, his weapons just aren't that. I don't know exactly. They're just not great weapons. I mean, Aguilar has a solid amount of snaps, which is like it's Nelson Aguilar. Bateman's not much. Odell, no. If Odell were like my wide receiver 3 and I had 2 players who are clearly better, it's like I wouldn't mind Odell because
but Zay Flowers, I think he's still developing, and I think he's actually a pretty good receiver at this point. But sometimes he's a smaller receiver, and when it comes to playoffs, I want that big receiver that a quarterback could throw to in a key spot, and I don't think the Ravens have that. They had that with Mark Andrews, but he's gone.
Yeah, it is good that Isaiah Likely is like a solid tight end. Like that's good for them. They'll need that. I mean, on their side, they have a little bit of a tough schedule. I think I was looking at. I mean, they have Rams. And they have Jacksonville, San Fran, Miami, Pittsburgh. So
you're talking about Ravens? I thought the Browns played the Rams this week.
Well, Ravens have a bye.
They have a bye.
And then it's Rams, Jacksonville.
Are we really categorizing the Rams as a tough team?
Well, they're not they're not easy per se.
I know,
mean,
but
they're
Cooper Kupp, I don't think is ever going to be healthy.
okay, but when I say tough schedule, I don't mean that all 5 teams are juggernauts, Logan. Jeez.
That is a tough schedule, though. You have at Jacksonville, at San Francisco. They did catch a break. If they were playing Miami in Miami,
Baltimore is nice.
In Baltimore's big, yeah. I think that's a big. And then Pittsburgh, those are always tough. I mean, they lost to Pittsburgh earlier this year, but
God, that was the dumbest game on God's green earth.
The fact that that's also at home, I think that's also good for the Ravens. But yeah,
that could be for the division.
If Pittsburgh wins, and you're gonna be mad if Pittsburgh wins this division.
No, I know.
A lot of money riding on the Ravens, and if you look at Pittsburgh's schedule,
it's a joke.
They may be 11-4.
Here's the thing about Pitts. It's the same thing what I said about Eagles. Like, I see Pittsburgh just like winning all these games barely, or I could just see them like losing to Arizona and then losing to the Colts. I don't know. I don't know
about Arizona. I mean, I think Arizona's kind of.
Kyler just has one good game, man. I mean, Jake Browning competed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On the other side of this game, the Chargers. Let's talk about the Chargers real quick. So this season,
have to?
I'm not talking about this season. I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah, but I think they fire Brandon Staley.
No. I know that. But heading to the draft, what do you do? Like, let's play a game real quick. What do you do first round? Do you take a receiver? Do you take offensive lineman? Do you take a pass
best
rusher?
player available? Best player available.
I can see the Chargers possibly trading back in this draft and accumulating more picks because Joey Bosa's old, expensive, and never stays healthy. Khalil Mack's old and expensive. He's been productive. He's old and expensive. Corey Linsley's been hurt. He hasn't been playing. He's old, and I don't think he's expensive. I'm pretty sure he's old. This defense, secondary-wise, is terrible. Wide receivers, Keenan Allen's going to be 32 before next year starts.
Yeah. This is why I say best player available. I don't think they're strong enough to pick one position. No, yeah, I don't think they're strong enough to pick one position. You pick best player available. Where I think like Brock Bowers would be really nice because he could be best player available and really improve your passing game. But I don't think they're going to be good enough to where we just need a receiver, we just need a tackle, pass rusher.
Top 10 pick right now, so.
No, I pick
they want. I think
best player available in my opinion. I don't think the Chargers. I mean, we've been watching Chargers our entire lives as Chiefs fans. They always screw it up, and until they don't, you just expect them to do it.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you want to talk on the Chargers before we start talking about?
No, they're so terrible to watch. They're terrible to watch. And
then Eckler. I didn't even mention Eckler. He's washed. So yeah, they're in some trouble.
Oh, Eckler's washed. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're in some trouble. But we will now shift our focus to the AFC and NFC playoff picture, and we're going to specifically talk about the wildcard race. I think division-wise, outside of NFC South, I think everything's kind of set in stone. I may be wrong. That may be a stretch, but wildcard. So we'll talk about the AFC first.
Mm-hmm.
So the AFC right now, you have Pittsburgh at 7-4, Cleveland at 7-4, and then the Colts at 6-5. And then the teams on the outside looking in, should we pencil Cincinnati out, or do you want to keep them in this discussion? Because they're 5-6.
I'd give them a 1% chance, but they're not.
If they lose this week, I think you take them out, which they're playing at Jacksonville.
Yeah,
at Jacksonville. I think they lose.
Yeah, I think they're unless Jake Browning has some big thing. I mean, yeah, they're probably out.
So, outside looking in, we'll talk about these three teams: Houston 6-5, Denver 6-5, and then Buffalo will keep in at 6-6. What team or teams in the wild card do you see sliding out? Is there one team? Is there two teams?
I mean, Pittsburgh is so weird.
Pittsburgh's not. I'm telling you right now, Pittsburgh is making the playoffs.
They're not a top 7 team. I know, but they could. They're not a top 7 team. Like, I know they can make the playoffs.
No, I don't agree with that either. But schedule.
I think
they play Arizona, New England, Colts, Bengals.
I'm not going to rule out Arizona. I don't think they.
I'm not going to rule out the Colts. I think
the Colts are better.
Indy is a very good team, especially at home. They're a very good team. They put up points.
I think the Colts. I know that they're losing Taylor for a couple weeks, but they were productive without him.
Optimistic.
I think they're my most confident team in their schedule. Tennessee, they're better. Just make sure Derrick Henry doesn't kill you.
Don't they play Tennessee twice?
No,
or just once. Just once.
Tennessee, just don't make Derrick Henry. Make sure Derrick Henry doesn't kill you. Cincinnati, no Burrow. Just don't let Jamar make a ton of plays. Then Pittsburgh. I think they go beat Pittsburgh in 3 weeks. And that's why Pittsburgh, if they screw up a game, which they are very capable of just losing a dumb game, and then they lose that, and then, like, Pittsburgh's last 3 weeks are not – I mean, Cincinnati, who plays them tough, Seattle, who's still good, and Ravens. I think the Steelers –
I think at that point, though, I think they may – if they win this next stretch of games, I think those 3 games may be kind of pointless of, like, what – maybe they finish that lower seed, but I think if they
could be
win
9
the
and
stretch of games,
they could – can't you – they have to – if they win all 3,
I don't see them losing against Arizona. I just don't. That's just me. I just don't see them losing that game.
If they lose all 3, they're in. Or if they win all 3 of these next 3, Steelers are in.
That's what I'm saying.
But if they win 2, you feel good about it. But if they lose 2, let's say Arizona gets an upset, they beat New England, then Colts take care of business. I think they miss. And I think that's very possible. And I like the Colts. And then Browns.
I think Browns miss the playoffs. I think
you'll probably lose these next 2 weeks. And then it may suck for them. They may have to face Aaron, which is ridiculous. But if Aaron Rodgers plays,
he's not playing. Stop. We're not even entertaining that.
What do you mean we're not entertaining it? I'm not saying it's logical. I'm just saying it can happen. I'm not saying it's logical. Okay. You're not going to see me argue
the week before the week before the Jets game at Houston.
No, that's tough.
That could be a deciding factor of who makes it and who's not in.
Houston really dictates. They have biggest...
When I look at the AFC playoff picture, I don't think Denver. I don't believe in Denver at all. I actually think they lose their next 3 games. I think they go 0-3 in these next 3 games. And I know Chargers are in there. It's at Houston.
It's possible. I disagree.
It's 3 road games. At Houston, at Chargers, at Detroit. And you say Chargers aren't at home field advantage. You still have to travel all those places.
Okay.
3 straight road games.
The Chargers may be in absolute meltdown mode.
Well, I think they lose all 3 of these games.
That's bold.
I think
they're at least pulling one of those out.
I don't think so. I think they lose all 3, so I'm going to take Denver. That takes Denver out of my potential conversation in 3 weeks' time. I think Cleveland misses it. This is tough. I think Buffalo's schedule is too tough right now to overcome.
I think Buffalo figures it out.
I think the playoff picture is going to be the top 4 seeds.
Yeah.
The 5 seed will be Pittsburgh. I'll say 6 Houston because the John Taylor injury I think is very impactful. And you're playing. I think Gardner Minshew's a fine quarterback. He's fine, but not having John Taylor is a big deal. I think Houston gets a 6 seed and then Colts are a 7 seed. That's probably where I'm leaning towards.
I'm pretty different than you.
Is there anything you want to say before we go to the NFC side?
Well, I'm going to tell you mine, brother.
Oh, okay.
Go
ahead.
I mean, I think the Colts – I like the Colts to be the 5 seed.
Wow.
I like their schedule. I like how they're playing. Even though they didn't play well against Tampa, Tampa's still not a pushover, and they beat Tampa pretty convincingly. It was by 7, but if you watch the game, they always had it. I think Pittsburgh gets a 6 seed. And, I mean, it's just because they got luck. They've won some BS games. I mean, yeah, we know. And then
who's your 7?
I think Buffalo gets in. No, Buffalo Colts. And then Buffalo is scary. Dude, I'm telling you, the offense, when I watch that, you look at their schedule. I think they go and beat the Chiefs.
Okay. If they lose to the Chiefs, let's just say they lose. What's your are they out?
Well, then they got to beat Dallas. You have to win one of 2. I think they'll beat Chiefs, lose Dallas, win the last 3.
Do you think they beat the Chiefs?
The Chiefs are not world beaters, man.
I'm not saying they are, but I like the Chiefs in that game.
The Bills play well against the Chiefs generally. I like the Bills. Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen's about to pop off. Then he's playing well. I think he's about to pop off. They're gonna go 10-7, get the 7 seed, and they're gonna be the scariest team in the AFC. They're gonna be scary, in my opinion. They're still second in the league in sacks and like top 10 in picks. The little dumb things are why they're not. It's just the dumbest things are why they're not. They could win their division if they just didn't have the dumbest mistakes on God's green earth. Mm-hmm. So I think they sneak in. My dream just out of like best teams would be they're the 6, but they're the 5, and then Denver's the 6, Colts are
Buffalo's
the
a
7.
5.
Well, just as like cool, like take away my Chiefs and just
Okay,
say
so
best
who would
team.
so you'd have to play Miami first round?
I mean, yeah,
Or
but
who'd
that's
you-
not going to happen. They're going to be the 7, in my opinion, and I think they'll play Baltimore, and then it'll be Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. If it's Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, that's just going to be tough. I think I said this before when we did our division picks. I said if it's Pittsburgh, Jacksonville playoff game.
I think I had.
I think you had that
No,
game.
no, I think I had that game because I had Cincinnati at Miami.
Yes, and you said, and I think I said, if that's the game, that's going to be the least watched playoff game all season. It would be Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and that's what I think it ends up. Unless Miami. Give me a second. No, that schedule's easy. We do need to talk about that schedule's easy. Yeah, that schedule's easy. Oh my goodness, Miami's.
Who, Jacksonville's?
Wait, no, Miami may be the 3 actually. Miami's
Miami's. Oh no, Miami's the 4 right now. Miami has a pretty. Their final 3 weeks are pretty grueling, especially if Buffalo's out of the playoffs by time though. They may get and
they're going to win these next 3, but they're guaranteed to be 11-3. Just beat one of those.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And Jacksonville, hold up real quick. We'll move on. Jacksonville's is hard. I think the end of Jackson. Never mind. They're about the same.
So I think it's just win the winnable games, and whoever has a hiccup and loses a winnable game, I think will fall in the division leader standings. NFC side of things, I think this is actually really interesting and more interesting than people think. So right now you have the 5 seed Dallas. I think you could pencil them as a 5 seed. I think that's pretty concrete. These next 2 teams, Seattle 6-5 and Minnesota 6-6. I tried telling you a couple weeks ago, Josh Dobbs, not for real.
Hey, he's gotten them here.
That's fantastic. He was also pretty good with Arizona for the first 3 weeks and then turned into a pumpkin after that. It's the same thing with Minnesota. He threw 4 interceptions against Chicago.
Okay, yes. He was very, very bad. I watched that with fantasy and bet implications.
No, I need Minnesota to win.
I was very unhappy, Logan. You don't need to rub it in. I'm not
rubbing it in. I'm mad too. I'm just mad that you support this guy, and now I have to argue with him.
Hey, he's also helped our dynasty team. Don't disrespect him.
Okay.
I
think so. Seattle 6-5, Minnesota 6-6. You then have Green Bay at 5-6, looking in. Rams 5-6, looking in. Saints 5-6. But what you could do is just put the Saints and Falcons, just put them in the same category. They're both 5-6. They both easily be wild
Neither
card.
One of those is going to be a wild card team.
No. I think Tampa Bay. I don't believe in them. I think they are not going to make the playoffs. What I see happening, I see Green Bay making it in because I think Green Bay's schedule is very manageable. I am not sure Seattle even makes the playoffs. So they're 6-5.
Their schedule is tough.
They're 6-5 right now. They have at Dallas, at San Francisco, and San Francisco. They just played San Francisco this past week. So that's San Francisco 2 times in 3 weeks. Then versus Philly. I don't. They could lose all 3 of those games. I think they probably lose all 3 of those games. And they're 6-8.
If you go through their recent schedule, okay, go back. I don't remember much about the Arizona game.
Which one?
But they lost. They won 20-10.
I mean, there's their Josh Dobbs game.
I mean, it's way too close of a game. But Cleveland, they should have lost to Cleveland.
Oh, that was the Arizona game. They didn't have DK Metcalf in that game.
Okay, I don't care. You have weapons anyways. But Cleveland, you should have lost to Cleveland. You then get boat raced by Baltimore. I mean, absolutely boat raced. I wasn't able to watch the end of the Seattle Cowboys or Seattle Washington game.
That game was
but it was close. It was really close.
And Washington's in the lead for a big part of the game, I feel like.
Yeah, and you lose to Rams. Then you get kind of boat race against Seattle. You're going to probably lose tomorrow against the Cowboys. Probably get boat raced again by San Fran. And then probably get boat raced by Philly. So you're going to have lost 5 straight, 6 of 7. Your 2 wins are barely's. One of them shouldn't have been. The other win before that was a bad team. You lost to Cincinnati in a weird one. You had one good game all year, the Lions.
That was week 2?
Yeah, you beat the garbage out of bad Carolina team and out of a bad Giants team, and you lost to Rams twice, I don't think they make it. I don't think they make it.
So let's say they lose these 3 games. Then you have at Tennessee versus Steelers, at Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Because the NFC is not like the AFC. You don't need. I don't think you're going to need 10 wins to get in. But I think when you look at these other teams, I think Green Bay's schedule
honestly may need 10.
Green Bay's schedule is super easy. So you have. I think they do lose this week against the Chiefs, and we'll talk about that game in our predictions later. So they'll be 5-7. But then Giants, Tampa, Carolina, at Vikings, Chicago. That's your closing schedule. They could easily be undefeated in that stretch. And
I think we're about
10-7. I think it's tough.
I think I know what you're about to debate, but you're about to debate Vikings and Rams, right?
I don't think Rams make it. I don't think Rams make it. I don't think they make it. So I think
why not? Wait, can I explain Rams real quick? Beat
Sure.
Cleveland. You're 6-6, right? If you beat Cleveland, yeah, you're 6-6. You lose to Baltimore. Take the L. You beat Washington. You're back to 7-7. Beat New Orleans. You're back to 8-7. Beat Giants. You're 9-7. Then you're 9-7, which may be enough, and you have the tiebreaker over Washington in a 1-on-1. And then it's San Fran, and San Fran could be on like a bye type of thing, or they're stuck in the 2 seed, and then they could be 10 and they're playing well. They're playing better.
I think Cooper Kupp, I think, is just at this point, at any moment he can get majorly hurt, but just get injury where it takes him out the rest of the year.
But Kyron Williams, I think, is like legit, and I think, dude, this offense beat Baltimore. Maybe their only loss left. I think it's going to be Dallas, Green Bay, Rams.
I think it's going to be Dallas, Green Bay. Oh, God. I'm going to say Seattle. And I know I just said what I said about them, but I don't trust the Rams, and I don't trust another NFC South.
But
I just don't trust the Rams.
If it's a 1-on-1, Logan, if they have the same record, it goes to Rams because they beat Seattle twice.
They beat them twice.
In Minnesota, I think they lose next week.
I think with Pete Carroll will motivate I think they end up getting the 7th seed. I think they barely get in. Like I think they're freaking out week 18. But I'm gonna say there's 7 and the Packers are the 6.
I'm gonna say they don't get lucky 2 years in a row. They got lucky last year.
Let's say Packers get the 6 and Detroit's a 3. What are you doing? What are you picking?
Picking Detroit. I mean, they lost a weird game. They're playing bad. I think by then they'll figure out. But to Minnesota.
They play Detroit final 3 weeks.
And they play Packers. That's a huge game. But Raiders is not a gimme. That's not a gimme. We don't even know.
I think they lose that game. I think Minnesota's quarterback situation is terrible now. Josh Dobbs is not. He's turned back to where he was. You have Jared Hall, and you have.
But Dobbs hasn't had Jefferson. You got to give him that. He hasn't.
He may not be playing.
No, Jefferson's playing.
No, not him. I'm saying Dobbs may have lost his job.
Okay, but I think Dobbs will start. I think they're going to look at it, and they're going to be like, we're not going to give it to Jaron Hall, and it's Dobbs or Nick Mullins. I don't think Hall's in the running for it. He's if they lose to the Raiders, then you put in Jaron Hall. But I like Rams and Packers. I think that's fun. And hopefully it's not my bias making my wildcard picks, because I think there's a lot of fun stuff in it. But Seattle, I think, is just going to plummet. And
we'll see.
I like what the Rams are doing. And then, New Orleans, they're 5-6, so I think you have to mention them. But they're hurt. They're going to lose to Detroit. They may not have Olave or Shaheed. And then, it's kind of easy with Carolina Giants, but then they can lose those games. The Giants aren't terrible. Tommy DeVito's doing enough, I guess. But then, yeah. I guess Atlanta, yeah. But I think Atlanta's going to win the division. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we move on to our Week 13 predictions?
No.
Okay. I thought your screen was a little bit because you were not moving.
Dallas, Green Bay, Rams. Interesting stuff. It would be interesting if Packers get the 7 seed, or if they just face San Fran in the first round. And then Jordan Love does better against San Fran in the playoffs than Rodgers did in multiple years. That would be kind of funny.
Wouldn't happen, but yeah. We will now move on
it'd just be funny.
to our Week 13 predictions. We literally just talked about this game. Seattle at Dallas. Dallas are favored by 9.
I like Dallas. I mean, as I said, I don't trust Seattle. I think this is Dak's first, like, a good win. I think Dak's he's just going nuts. I mean, if you watch it, if you take away if you watch it, Dak this is the best I think he's ever looked. I think
Dallas. I think Dallas wins. The Dallas is still. I think they're still. I don't know. I still think the jury's out. I don't think they're as good as people say. They beat up on bad teams. That's what they.
I know, but they should have beat the Eagles.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shoulda, woulda.
I know, but this will be a team. They lost.
You know how many shoulda, coulda, wouldas are in NFL history? They lost. I think Dallas wins this game. I think they potentially cover. I'm not too sure. I think maybe a garbage time touchdown. Seattle could keep it close if their offense gets it going.
Pick six is happening.
Yeah, but I do like Dallas to win this game. But we'll see. I think it should be a pretty good game, I think. We'll see, though, because I think Seattle's going to have to keep up with the Cowboys, which I'm not sure if they could do with Geno Smith. Next game, Colts at Titans. Colts are favored by 1 point.
You know, I like the Colts a lot. I think Minshew, he has his moments where he's good, moments where he's bad. But Colts just need to make sure Derrick Henry doesn't massacre them. And at this point, he's probably not massacring many teams, especially with this offensive line. So I like the Colts, and I think with the Colts, which is really interesting, they don't have bad weapons. Pittman's playing his best. Pittman's becoming a wide receiver, not an elite wide receiver 1, but a wide receiver 1. He's becoming a lot better. Josh Downs, I like Josh Downs. When I watch him, he's good. And then Pierce is solid. So I like the Colts. They can run the ball still. I think this it being 1 point is like, man, like, dang, what is Vegas thinking? But I like Colts.
Yeah, I like Colts as well. Don't really trust Will Levis. Derrick Henry didn't really play that well against Carolina last week. And Colts do have a weak run defense, but I don't think Tennessee will be able to take advantage of it. I like the Colts in this one too. I think offensively more explosive. Mm-hmm. I like Shane Steichen's play calling. So I think Colts win this, and I could easily see them win by 7-8 points in this one. I think.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah. Next game, Chargers at Patriots. Chargers are -6 point favorites.
How many noon games are there? Can I avoid? Yes, I can avoid watching this one. Yeah,
Do not pick the Patriots.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm not picking Patriots. I'm picking Chargers. There's 7 noon games, so there's one game that I can't watch no matter what. Hopefully, I make that the Chargers, Patriots. It's going to be, I think Patriots cover, just because Chargers don't have any offensive weapons outside of Allen. I don't even know if Eckler's a weapon anymore. He's just a dude. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's just a dude at this point. So it's Herbert and Allen. Those
weapons are still miles better than what Patriots have, so.
Agreed, but Patriots have Bill Belichick, and I know he's kept some games close. I don't think they're going to win. I know. I just think they cover. Okay. I just think they cover. I said cover.
Here's my analysis game. Chargers win. Patriots lost to Giants. Next game. Lions at Saints. Lions 4-point favorites.
I think it's copy your analysis of that last game. The Saints just lost to the Falcons, who are terrible, but they're still going to win the division somehow. They don't have Chris Olave or Shaheed. Lions are going to be pissed. They haven't played well in a few weeks. They're going to be pissed off. I like the Lions.
I like the Lions too. And the fact that they're -4 in this spot, I think it's great value to take the points if you're betting. I love the Lions in this spot. Great value. Played pretty bad in the last 2 games. I think they'll be back up to speed. I think they win this one. I think, especially if Olave and Shaheed are out and Uriah Lattimore and Michael Thomas out.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's no number 1.
Yeah, they're going to have no offense. So I think Lions win pretty convincingly. Next game, I feel like this should be a lock, but I'm still scared, like betting it. Falcons at Jets.
I may have been wrong on my game I don't want to watch. I may have been wrong on my game I don't want to watch because I do not want to watch this one either because Falcons, because of my bets, stress me out too much. I like Falcons, but it's like whoever likes the Falcons. The Jets are just a mess. If I knew Trevor Siemian was playing all 4 quarters, I may pick Jets because Tim Boyle's not it. I mean, Zach Wilson sucks. I'm going Falcons, but it's like I just don't.
The fact Falcons should win. Like this I shouldn't be sighing or thinking about this, but Desmond Ridder is awful. And Jets defense is very good. I think what the Falcons to eat because Jets don't have a good run defense. Just run the ball. Just run the ball, Bijan.
They're not going to run the ball well, though. It's going to be terrible. Jesse Bates is just going to make a – Jesse Bates is carrying the Falcons.
I think the fact that Falcons are minus 2.5 in this spot, I think kind of tells you the whole story of what Vegas thinks about the Falcons.
Yeah.
They should win this game. I'm going to pick the Falcons, but, man, I will not be surprised if Desmond Ridder just chokes this game away. But they should absolutely win this game. This shouldn't even be a discussion, especially Tim Boyle starting.
Agreed.
Should not be a discussion. Next game, Cardinals at Steelers. Steelers minus 5.5.
As I was saying earlier, so I'd taken the Steelers just because the Cardinals have not shown enough, but I still know that Kyler's still a good quarterback. He's coming back from the ACL. At any moment, it could hit, and he could be making insane plays. So I'm going to take Steelers, but I'm going to take Cardinals to cover. I mean, McBride's shown stuff. Marquise Brown is still good, even though he's still not quite been big game yet. Greg Dortch they have some nice stuff. James Conner. I still don't like Pittsburgh that much, even though they're running the ball a lot better. But I like Pittsburgh to win, but I think Cardinals cover.
I think Pittsburgh wins and covers. I think if the Cardinals had a good run defense and a bad pass defense, I would agree with you. But the fact that the Steelers don't have to rely on Kenny Pickett in this game, they just run the ball with Jalen Warren, who I think is going to be the next Austin Eckler. They have the same kind of style.
That's a lot. Okay, Austin.
I'm saying his play style. When he runs, he reminds me of prime Austin Eckler.
Prime Austin Eckler is a baller.
Okay.
No, Najee's not playing bad.
No, I think the Steelers run the ball, dominate defense. I think they cover this game. You're telling me they can't win by 7 points, at least 6?
They can. I just don't think they will.
I think they will. I think Steelers win and cover this game. Next game, and I'm actually shocked that this is only a single-digit line. Miami at Washington. Miami minus 9.5.
Couldn't you just see this being one of Sam Howell's games where he goes nuts? They may still lose, but he goes nuts.
That's every game where he throws a bunch of yards, but he's a turnover machine, and he gets sacked.
I know, but they don't have Jalen Phillips.
They don't have Jalen Phillips.
I'm picking Miami.
Okay.
But this is another – I think Washington covers. I mean, I know Jalen Ramsey's been getting a couple picks and all, but Miami's defense is still not the best. I think Washington puts up some of a fight. I think they keep it within single digits.
This Washington secondary is terrible.
No, it is. Tyreek Hill at the same time may go for
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
If I'm Tyreek Hill and I want to win MVP, this is where you go for like 250 to go give yourself some clearance to go get 2K.
I think Miami. It will not surprise me at all if Miami's up like 24-0. Second quarter.
That's very. I think the Washington offense will have a good game.
I don't know, man. Like they don't really utilize Jahan Dotson the way I think they should. Terry McLaurin, I really don't know how I feel about Terry McLaurin anymore. Like I'm not saying he's a bad receiver by any stretch, but it's like I really don't know if he's. I mean, what if you had to say top what? What is he top 15?
No, he's not top. I'd have to write it down, but I don't think he's top 15 because, like, I mean, okay, this is not picking the game, but real quick. Tyreek Hill's better. Jalen Waddle's better.
Okay, we don't need to go through this whole list.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Tank Dell may be better.
We're not going through this whole list.
He's better. Jamar Chase is better. T. Higgins is better. Devontae's better.
Let's just stick. Okay, we agree he's not top 15. Let's just stick to picking the game.
Not top 15.
Okay. Next game, I think we're going to disagree on this one. And will this be our first disagreement? I think it will be our first disagreement.
Yeah.
Broncos at Texans. Texans minus 3.5. I think we're disagreeing on this one. But maybe
yeah, we definitely are. I knew we'd disagree on this one. I'm going Broncos. I like what I've seen. I don't think the Texans' defense is fantastic. So I think Broncos score like 24-27, just ground the ball, maybe a big dumb play here or there. Texans lost Titus Howard. I think a lot of what they have to do is good protection for C.J. Stroud, and that sort of deteriorated at the end. I mean, Arizona held them to 21. Stroud threw 3 picks against Arizona.
Every game's different, man.
I know every game's different. He threw a pick against the Bengals. He played better against Jacksonville, but they had some pressure issues, and they only scored 21. I like Denver. I think they're playing more consistent football. The Texans' best game is definitely better than the Broncos' best game, but I'm still taking Broncos because I think they have a more consistent brand of football, more veterans, more leaders. Texans are very nice, but I think they're still young, so give me the Broncos.
I think this is where the magic carpet ride ends, and like I said, I think they lose 3 straight. I don't think what they're doing is sustainable, especially offensively. And if Texans are clicking offensively in this game,
Okay, how is it not sustainable? But what the Texans are doing, the Texans is much more. It's not fluky, but it's much more
I like
it could hit a
Stroud.
ditch. Yeah, but he's not as ungodly as you think. He's had bad games. He should have blown the Cincinnati game.
Okay. I think
his big
I
game
think
was
Texans.
against
I don't care. I like the Texans in this game. I think if they're clicking offensively, I'm taking the Texans. I don't think Broncos will keep up.
I don't think they'll click. They'll be fine, but they won't click like.
I'm not saying it's probably 30, but
I'm interested. Surtain, if Surtain's guarding Dell, that should be really
will he follow
fine.
Dell, or is he's going to be all over?
I don't know, but then he'll just take away Nico Collins. Nico Collins.
I think Texas win this game, and like you said, you were worried about Texas pass protection, but I don't think Denver really has a good pass rush, so I don't know if they could take advantage of that. Even though Texas offensive line, even if it is bad, and Broncos also have the worst run defense in the league, so you could see Devin Singletary. And Devin Singletary, I think, is taking advantage or taking control of the backfield. I think Devin Singletary could have a really good game in this game as well. So
Devin Singletary's been nice. I'll give you that. He's been nice.
I do like the Texans, and I think they win this by like 27-20. I think it's that type of somewhere around that ballpark. Next game, I don't even know if we have to really discuss this. I'm not going to watch it. Panthers at Buccaneers. Buccaneers minus 5.5.
You know, aren't teams 2-0 when they fire their coach this year at first game?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't.
Panthers fire coach game. Dude, the fire coach game always works. It's not like they're playing a good team. They're facing Tampa, who they played a Colts team who made multiple mistakes, and they still. I don't think we're ever truly right there with them. You fire your coach. Carolina's going to run some different stuff. Bryce Young made some nice throws last game. It's just he needs to get bigger, and that O-line is not helping him at all. But I like them to win.
It's not going to get much better.
I picked Carolina against the Texans, didn't I? And now I'm picking them against the Bucs. Watch and learn, my brother.
Baker Mayfield is pretty mid, so I could see where you're coming from. And I do remember when you said Baker Mayfield is better than CJ Stroud, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, well that's
another time.
Wrong at this point. Baker's not been bad. Don't say Baker's been bad.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's in. But I think Buccaneers defense is good. Panthers offer nothing offensively, and because of that defense will suffer.
You think Tampa has a good defense?
Or not good, but they're all right.
Yeah, but all right could be taken advantage of by.
Okay.
The head coach gets fired.
Tennessee doesn't have a good defense, and Panthers only scored 10 points.
But the head coach gets fired.
I don't care.
And you win the game.
I don't think
Panthers. It's just facts. It's just statistics. Man.
Okay, that's great. Buccaneers are still fighting for playoffs technically, and still a division. I think Buccaneers are still motivated to win. I like Buccaneers this one.
They're
I
not
think
winning that.
Next game
in Division 2. That makes it a better chance for an upset.
Okay. Next game, Browns at Rams. Rams minus 3.5. I am interested to see where you go in this game.
Browns, Rams. If Joe Flacco's playing, it's a harder pick, to be honest. But I like what I saw from the Rams. I think their offense is running more smoothly with Kyron. I think they even ran all right with Royce and Henderson. But now with Kyron, it can really take steam.
Kyron's a beast, and he's only 23 years old. I mean,
he's a stud. Watching that game, he's a stud. I like the Rams. As I've said, I think they hunt for the playoff spot. I think they go and get it, and this win will be big for it. And so I like the Rams.
Thank the Lord. I thought you were going to pick Browns. I really thought you were going to pick Browns. But
no, but I think they have a better chance with Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I
think Rams win this one. I love the 3.5 spread. I think they cover. Browns just don't have anything.
How's Amari Cooper?
He's been bad. He's been bad.
No,
it's not because
that.
He's been bad.
No, but he got hurt. Remember Simmons?
Oh, the ribs. Yeah. I don't know if he plays. I don't know if he even plays.
Let me
If he
look
doesn't
that up
play,
real quick.
I think Rams pretty much take control of this game. Next game, I think the best game of the week, 49ers at Eagles. And the 49ers on the road are 3-point favorites.
The Eagles are due for a loss. They're due. The Niners are back to being the Niners. Everyone was freaking out. The Niners, I think, will win. I think it's a fun rematch. Even though if the Eagles win, I think Jalen Hurts is locked in for MVP if Eagles win. Oh my, there's no way he could lose unless Dallas then beats them and then Eagles lose again and Dallas gets the 1 seed or whatever. But I like the Niners. The Eagles are just due for a loss. They're due for a loss. They've gotten very fortunate at the end of games with stuff going their way and just the circle of time. I don't think it can happen again.
I think this game is going to be decided on each of the offensive defensive lines. I still think 49ers offensive line is not great. And against this Eagles front seven, I think it could be exposed. And then 49ers have a great pass rush, but the Eagles offensive line is very good. So I think the Eagles hold up on both ends. And I actually if I'm betting this game, I really like taking the value of the Eagles just because they'll be plus odds. I do think Eagles end up winning this game. If Brock Purdy, though, can take advantage of the secondary, the Eagles are in trouble, but I think the pass rush is going to get there for the Eagles in this game. I trust the Eagles front seven in this game to get some pressure on Brock Purdy and make things difficult.
Wait, so you have Eagles?
I do. I understand the due for loss thing. I absolutely understand that. I think some of their wins have been very lucky. But I think infield, and I think both teams are going to be motivated as hell in this game. But I think Eagles being at home, I think, is also why I kind of lean Eagles this game as well. Sunday night, Chiefs at Packers. Chiefs -6.
I think the Chiefs, even though I'm not fully sold on the offense, it did enough. And that defense was bad in the first half, and then it kicked into gear. So I like the Chiefs. I can see Jordan Love battling because he's playing well. But if they don't have Aaron Jones, I think that's a big deal.
And A.J. Dillon didn't practice today either.
He'll probably play, I bet. But I like the Chiefs covering. I wouldn't touch the line. I think that's right. It's going to be right around that. So I wouldn't touch the line. But I think it'll be a good game, but I think Chiefs will have a solid win.
I think this is the week where we see Jordan Love kind of – I'm not saying regress where he'll be a bad quarterback. I think this is Jordan Love regression week. I think the Chiefs defense, as we all know, is legit. And I think Jordan Love's going to struggle in this game, especially if he doesn't have Aaron Jones and or A.J. Dillon. I think he needs kind of that running game to make it more comfortable. I think the Chiefs win. I think they cover. I think they can win this game by 7 points. So I think Chiefs defensively, take control of this game, and I think the Chiefs do enough offensively to cover the spread.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
Last game of the week was probably supposed to be a really good game when the NFL released the schedule. Bengals at Jaguars. Jaguars -8.5.
Okay, I think I have a similar theme with games. I like Jags to win, but I like Bengals to cover. Brian wasn't terrible against the Steelers. I think that the Jags are still a little And so I think the Bengals will compete. But I'll take the Jags. I really like what I saw from Trevor. I think that was kind of huge for him to have a good game.
Primetime games are usually kind of fluky.
That's true.
They never play out the way you thought they play out. So I think Jaguars win. But I agree with you. I don't think they cover. But I don't think this is a game where their last possession they need to stop.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think it's a game where Bengals kind of hang around, but they really never threaten the Jaguars. I think Jaguars win this. I think pass rush is going to get to Browning. I think because you cannot run. Jacksonville has a very good run defense, so it's going to have to come down to Browning.
Bengals wouldn't be able to run anyways.
So I think the Jaguars win this game and they continue on. They'll be 9-3, and I think they'll continue on, try and get that 1 seed, and hope that Baltimore or Kansas City slips up. But yeah, I think this week of games is pretty good. Wish that Burrow's healthy, so that would have been a better game. But that will do it for our Week 13 predictions. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out today's episode?
I'd just like to say that we got college football conference games, and hopefully on Sunday I learned that the Wildcats are playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl because I want to go cover a Pop-Tart Bowl, and that's all. That's what I want to do. I want to go cover a Pop-Tart Bowl. It's like a dream of mine. Imagine in 30 years I can say, yeah, I covered a Pop-Tart Bowl. Just don't think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That will do it for this week's episode. Next week we'll be back with Week 13 reactions and other topics that we'll talk about. As I always mention, make sure to subscribe, leave comments, like the video, and leave comments of what topics you want us to talk about. We're always open to ideas,
such as Pop-Tarts.
I like blueberry Pop-Tarts. Those are my favorite. But we probably should close out the show before we get in a Pop-Tart rant. But that'll do it for our week's episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video.